Hi, I wanted to show you today one way of many that I use to get my social media sites extended, my conversations extended across the web, and my content, more importantly, indexed that has no ability to be indexed. Specifically, I'll talk about Facebook, your personal profile, where most people do a lot of times a lot of their social interactions are through Facebook, and so if it's a fan page, it gets picked up by Google, but if it's a profile, it does not. So if you post something, it has a very, very short life, depending on who's following you and how provocative you are to your followers. So one way to extend your conversation, and importantly to get your conversations indexed into Google, is to get them onto platforms that get indexed. So one way to do that is a widget, I'll call it, called or a plugin into WordPress called RebelMouse, RebelMouse.com. Now this is a site that I have that I'm constantly tinkering with. I basically have it as so I can control my name. I write about stuff for years that I now typically use Facebook as my launching pad for it, which is kind of stupid, but it's just I don't put a lot of, this isn't money making stuff I'm putting on to timokeefe.net. It's about my football coaching and stuff like that. So it's kind of been a more of a way to test in a laboratory. So one of the things I want to show you is, and I'll show you RebelMouse in a second, is this is at Pinterest. Okay, so if I go over here and I look up that post, it's not found in Google. Now, other things in Pinterest that I have to do with, like my likes and stuff like that, will get found. I mean, it's not a completely shut off, but that particular post is not there. Here's the post, and there's the URL to the post, and it ain't there. That's not good, right? So one way to extend my conversations is to take on RebelMouse, and what this does, this widget, it puts an iframe into my page, and all an iframe is, just simply put, is this. Then whatever goes inside of it, and it looks like that in code, something like that. Okay, so the point is that this doesn't get indexed from timokeefe.net because I am essentially sucking in the content that lives at RebelMouse, and I'll show you that right now. This is RebelMouse, same information, and it's cool. I can move stuff around if I want it to, and then freeze it if I want it to be the main, the very top, and then it shows up over here and a million other places. But again, over here it's not getting indexed. Over here on RebelMouse, the site, it is getting indexed. Now, for a fee, you can get rid of their advertising that runs on the side. I think it's like $10 or $12. But again, we're staying on indexing. The point is I can get my content indexed, and let me see if this will show up. Okay, again, remember, I'll do it from, this is RebelMouse. Okay, I don't want to confuse anybody. At Tim O'Keefe, it's feeding in, RebelMouse is feeding it into Tim O'Keefe. So I'm going to do this. Well, first of all, I'll tell you what, into Google, I'm going to type in RebelMouse RebelMouse.com/Tim O'Keefe, and there's my stuff. It's getting indexed. My individual posts are getting indexed. I mean, that's just bitching. Okay, so now I'm going to take my individual post content and again prove it to you. Where is it? There it is. Okay, and amongst a bunch of other stuff, because again, Michael put the interview on his stuff, on his blog, so it's coming up everywhere, and I've extended the conversation all over the place too. So what I'm doing is I'm taking something that has, the problem with social media is it has a very short lifespan. The problem with your content, if you're blogging or whatever, it has a very short lifespan. You can extend it by using tools like this that gets indexed by the engines, and it gets found, and it creates traffic. This is in the search engine. RebelMouse.com/Tim O'Keefe is in the search engines. So therefore, the next question is are my posts that are coming from YouTube, Pinterest, Facebook, my Facebook fan page, okay, Twitter, it's all helping them get indexed, which is helping them get search engine rankings, because if you're not indexed, you can't rank. It's helping my own rankings of Tim O'Keefe are getting by Tim O'Keefe across. In other words, let me back up. RebelMouse.com/Tim O'Keefe is now getting found in the engines because I gave it a little bit of link juice, and now the thing's taking on a life of its own. And so that alone ranks. So that's a branding play for me. But the other piece is that that you got to be aware of. It can rip apart your rankings, because for my own name, again, this was just kind of a reputation management thing so I can own my own name in Google, because it's taken up this entire page. And again, like I said, this is a laboratory for me. It's taking a little bit of time to load because I got a lot of processes going on, but the problem is there's no real content on the front page. I used to have a bunch of content on the front page, and so it's not ranking on the first page. It's ranking, I think, on page 3 for my own name. So that kind of sucks. So what I can do is make it so it doesn't engulf the entire front page. And that's my next move to test that, is I'm going to see if I make the social part smaller on the first page, it can also give the rest of the site some of its own real content, and it has cross-linking inside of the site better. And I think that'll fix that, and the rankings will come back. It also, for aesthetic purposes, you could just have a social section on a blog down your right navigation, as an example, that just shows 2 or 3 of your most recent social posts, and it kind of will create a dynamically ever-changing piece of content on your site. Again, it is not going to help your site per se rank. It's not part of your site. It's part of RebelMouse. RebelMouse.com/Tim O'Keefe will get the credit for that content, as well as other places that I'm out there doing this on. But so just understand, this is not a direct ranking factor for your site. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you because it's kind of a cool thing, and it kind of gets your social media work extended, because that's one of the biggest problems out there. Why I don't see people doing social media. It's like, I go on Twitter, I go on Facebook, and it's dead on arrival if no one reads it. Well, at least this gives your content life basically forever if if you're doing this. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you. We do this for our clients along with about 4, 5, 6, 7 other types of ways that it adds to the indexing of your content, not just from social media, but from the rest of your sites, to add indexing and juice and traffic, and we're having great success with that these days. I hope you like this, and I hope you find it useful.